Hello everyone, welcome to my Hot Wheels Redlines collection. Today we're going to kind of look at some Olds 442s and kind of talk about why some are worth more than others. But in 1970, Oldsmobile built the Olds 442, and they made a package that was called the W30, and that had a 455 big block in it. And they struck a deal with Mattel to make one of these cars. And as you can see, this is what they came up with. So they had the actual design prints, blueprints, whatever you want to call them, for the actual Olds. And what you see here is what they made. So you have Spectral Flame paint. They used a soft plastic to make the wing. The back of the car, the front of the car, the side view, everything looks just like it would have if you would have bought the W30. So you can see when you open up the hood, you have the big block motor in there. Now, they only did this car for the 1 year. Now, I know people are going to say they did all these other Oldsmobiles, and we'll kind of touch base on that. But because they did this in the 1 year with the Spectral Flame paint, and the Spectral Flame paint ended up having lead in it. So Mattel had to figure out a way to still paint cars and get away from the lead. And as we know, in 1973, they did this. But this technically is the only car that they named Olds 442. Now you have the police cruiser, you have the Maxi Taxi, you have the fire chief, you have the staff car. Now we all know that those are Oldsmobiles, but they didn't call them Oldsmobiles like they did this one. So collectors, myself included, like the Olds 442s, the actual Olds. And if I could afford more of them, I would have more. I mean, even junk cars are selling for a premium, it seems like, anymore. And purple is your rarest color. I know some people like to say pink is, but for this year and this car, it was purple. So purple is really worth a lot of money. And like I said, as you can see, interior, I mean, this is technically what you would have saw if you would have owned one of these cars back in 1970. So then they took a hiatus because they were having some financial problems. And in 72, they only made like 6 cars. So it was really their lightest year of car production. And then in 73, they came out with your Enamel cars. And like I was saying, they didn't name the cars Olds anymore. So this is a 1973 police cruiser. Black interior. You can see everything on it is pretty much identical. Back end, base, front of the car. But what they did change is you got rid of the wing, and then they pushed the top and they put the horns on here and then your red light. But you still had an opening hood, exposed the big block motor. I mean, Mattel was just ahead of their game. So with that one being done, they went ahead, and I want to say it was like 1974 that they started kind of changing stuff up. So you didn't have any tampos or anything on this car. You could buy stickers, or it came with decals, white stripe with blue stars you could put on there. I kind of prefer it without them, but that's just my taste. And then in 73, you had no tampos, but they did send you a sticker for the car you can put on there and call it a police car. So then in 74, you can see they did the police car, but this time they put tampons on it. They had a sponge set up, and it would press the car and then put the tampons. I want to call them decals, but they're not decals, they're tampons. But you can still see, as in 73, red light. You can have the air horns on there, black interior, opening hood. I mean, they just did such an amazing job. And then in the later part, they cast the hood shut. So you can see the hood is shut. They switched the light color from red to blue. They still called it a state police car. It still has the same amazing look on it. I mean, I think it's amazing for what they are. So you can kind of see how that happened. And then 75, 76, up in that area, they came out with the fire chief. So you had the Oldsmobile fire chief with the blue light. You had the air horns on it. Hood is cast shut. Still had red lines, but they went hole through. So you have that pin that runs through there and holds the wheels on. I mean, they're really a pretty car. So in an effort to save money, they got rid of the lights and they got rid of the air horns, and they pushed up this kind of like taxi light on the top. So you still had everything else going on. You had the black interior, you had the cast closed hood, same pretty grille, the back. So you can see, I mean, to me, that's a pretty car. I kind of like the lights better, but this was the route that they went. So you have the red lines, like I said, with the hole throughs. During that time, they also came out with your black walls. So you had the hole throughs, but now you no longer had the red lines on the wheels. But you still had the same fire chief. So if you look at this fire chief and you look at this one, the tampos and everything are identical. I mean, they did a really good job when they were trying to figure out how to save money by getting rid of the red stripes on the wheels. And then they came out with something that was kind of new, I guess, during that time. Let's see if I can set these a little different, because I got a few more to show you guys, but there we go. So then they came out and they did a Maxi Taxi. So the Maxi Taxi is done in the same car as you had on the fire chiefs. So the hood was cast shut. You had the taxi light on the top. You had your interior black, red line wheels, hole throughs. I mean, it was really a cool looking car. And I would imagine that a lot of the kids back then, boys and girls, just liked all the different things you had. I mean, you could have a taxi, you could have a fire chief, a police car, you could have a car you would see on the street back then you would probably see quite a few of these on the street. And then they also did the black wall version. Hood's cast shut. You got the taxi light on the top. You've got the tampos. Like I said, these are sponged on. But it's a cool car. So they save money by getting rid of the light. They save money by shutting the hood. So now they don't have to do the motor. And they save money by getting rid of the red lines on the wheels. And As you can see, it still looks cool, even though it doesn't have the red lines. My choice is I like the red line look. I just think it gives it a whole different look. And then the last cars they did in Oldsmobiles, and I don't get into the new stuff, you know, 2020s, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they're out there, you know, because Mattel's made a lot of money on these Oldsmobiles. But now you have the old staff car. Black interior, got your white decals on here that were stamped on here. And a lot of these are hard to find in really good condition. I think for what this one is, it's in pretty good shape. You know, most of the numbers and the lettering, the flag, everything on it, people know what it is when they see it. So you have this one. And then they also, and I know I've showed this one before, but they did a black wall. So everything was the same, cast closed hood, taxi light on the top, black walls. So I don't know, to me it's a cool looking car. But these are the cars that came about because of this car. So again, the way that they cast this, the back of the Olds, this was done directly off of blueprints. So they did a soft plastic wing on the back and just a beautiful Spectraflame paint. I mean, I don't know if you guys can really see that. The camera makes it look a little worse than it is. But such a pretty car. And that's why, again, these end up being so expensive. All of these other cars, in my opinion, are affordable. Probably the Olds 442 staff car is a little hard to get. That one is up there. They're beautiful cars. And with that, I hope that kind of answers the question on why this car became so valuable. I don't know if valuable is the right word for it, but it's very costly. And the more rare the color, the higher the price are on these things. And I know a lot of people have looked at them, so you know the kind of prices I'm talking about. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of try to answer that question. I mean, I don't know if that fully explains it, but it's kind of my reasoning behind why I paid what I paid for this car and what I paid for most of my other cars. I love the Olds 442. I think it's a great body. I think Hot Wheels did a great job when they designed it. And like I said, you can see through the years how they made the changes. And like I said, I'm not sure on the new stuff. That's not my forte. But with that, I hope everybody's having a great day. If you watched my whole video, thank you very much. I really do appreciate the views. And God bless. Have a great day. Bye.